experts that I have planned for you guys today. We are doing a expert panel on breakthrough strategies with the amazing experts that I have planned for you guys today. Expert panel on breakthrough strategies with the amazing experts that I have planned for you guys today.
1 second. There we go. Got it.
Expert panel on breakthrough strategies with the amazing experts that I have planned for you guys today.
Maybe it's there. Okay, there we go. All right, so I figured it out. So, all right, you guys. So we are doing breakthrough strategies to success, which apparently it's also figuring out how to do a live stream. So if you guys are not on YouTube, come join the YouTube channel. That is where I'm going to be able to see your comments, and I'm super excited to have you joining. I have amazing experts. So we have somebody that's going to be talking about confidence on camera, and a lady negotiator, and someone that does automations and helps people with a side hustle, making money with helping other people with automation, someone that helps people create their own high ticket offers, and then also the LFG queen who helps people take action and say yes. So I'm like so excited to have each of them on, and I'm going to bring them in. So the question is if I should keep this in the Facebook Live, or are you guys going to join us on YouTube? Because I see a lot of you guys here on my Facebook group. Hello, welcome. Hello. So excited to have you. Hello. So for those of you, I think I'm going to do both. Why not, Stacy? Here we go. Okay, so hi, you guys. I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks so much for joining on this expert panel. I've just really been admiring each of you, and am just really excited to bring you on. And so many people had been asking questions about getting to that next level of success, you know, and being able to really tap into that as you're doing hard things and as you're doing scary things. And I feel like each of you have been doing that, right? And it's been amazing to see. So I'd love to start off and have you just each share a little bit about you, what you do, how you help people, and all of the stuff. And Laura, we've been buddies from yesterday's live, so people already know you. So why don't you start off and give people an idea?
Hi everyone, and Stacey. Yeah, we're like in constant communication at the moment. My name is Laura Chattington, and I run a company called OfferAcceleratorLive.com, where we help people create and design elegant high-ticket offers. We help people authentically pitch those offers so they don't feel salesy and sleazy, which is what we were talking about yesterday, and then sell and scale those offers. And I think where Stacey and I have become buddies on is actually doing that through very kind of like community relationship based kind of offers and businesses, and really connecting with people. So that's really core to how we do business at Offer Accelerator Live. And thank you for having me again. You have obviously not got bored of what I'm saying yet, Stacey. And it's a pleasure to be here with everyone here, because we've had this incredible journey, I think, in the last month together. So it's so cool to be here with everyone.
I'm so excited. Yeah, thank you so much. And you guys got to meet Kristen also the other day, and she's actually kind of the one that spurted this live. We were talking about how fun it would be to start doing more stuff on YouTube. And so, and then she talked a lot about like taking action and saying yes and all the good things. And I'd love you just to share for maybe anyone that hasn't learned about you yet, about you and who you help too.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much, Stacey. I'm so honored to be here with all of you. Yeah, I am known kind of by accident as the girl who gets things done, the LFG queen, which we have renamed Laser Focused Growth. So whatever it might have meant before, it now means laser focused growth. And that is because I'm just the girl who takes massive imperfect action, and I help others do the same. But on top of that, I help entrepreneurs, coaches, and course creators lean in to their own expertise and 10x. Like, this is the year. Is it okay if 2024 is the year that we 10x our impact, 10x our influence, and 10x our income?
So good. Yes, it is the year. And that's why we're here, right? We're all about this like next level success and working on breaking through whatever barriers are holding you guys back and all the things that can help you get there. And Michael also just is doing really cool things, and it's been really cool. And for those of you that are part of Do the Thing, you'll know like with the dares, and we're in this like private space where he's just seeing who he is as a person and opening up. It's just been really cool. I'd love you to share, who you are and who you help and all that good stuff.
Thank you so much, Stacy, and all the rest of the amazing ladies that are on this. I'm honored to be the soul man here. Soul man, there you go. Bearing my soul per your dares. It's been a phenomenal way to just go beyond who I think I am. But I created an amazing offer called Total Freedom for You. I've been helping the home-based business industry since 1996 and really fell in love with people that have a vision and a dream, who don't want to be an employee. They want to be an entrepreneur. They want to be able to live their dreams. And so after building, custom technology solutions for people since 1999, I've been able to be behind the scenes and see what's working, what's not working. And now I am so stoked out of my mind because of artificial intelligence. I'm seeing things accelerating at just, like a rocket ship taking off. And so we put together a solution where people can literally earn a multiple six-figure income with no personal selling, no MLM, leveraging other people to do all the selling for them. So I'm a geek for technology, and I'll end with this only because it enables people to do a whole lot more, a whole lot quicker, a whole lot easier, a whole lot more effectively, and a whole lot less expensively. So if you like to do any of those things, would love to connect with some of you. Thank you.
So cool. And Leah has been coming into her just next level, we should say, right? Breaking through and all that stuff. And I'd love you to share, about you too.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be here. And Stacy, I've loved working with you and everybody in the group. Also, I see that Sarah has joined us on the chat for the live on YouTube. So hello, Sarah. So happy that you're here. As for a little bit about myself, I've had quite a varied career. So essentially right now, what I do is I work with ambitious professionals to unlock their executive voice and get their next 5- and 6-figure raise. So this is all based on the science of speech. I was a speech language pathologist for a number of years. Initially, that's what my master's in education, my first career was in. And then following then, I actually worked in the Senate Leadership Office and applied kind of the same principles of language and communication, which are the core fundamentals within really the highest levels of government that are creating our laws, multinational, international agreements with other countries. And then essentially in my last career, and what I've really seen the impact and tangible difference that it can truly transform people's lives is in their career. So being able to apply the science of speech to unlock your own executive voice, to have an impact, to be seen, to be heard, and to finally get your 5- and 6-figure raise so that you can be in the executive suite, so that you're invited to be part of the leadership team, VP, CTO, and COO. So that's what I do today. I love it. I've always loved language of communication, and the ability to help other individuals truly unlock their leadership and their own executive voice in this capacity is something that I'm truly passionate about. So that's a little bit about myself.
I love this. This is so good. So great. And Amy, would love you to share. It's funny, I just referred someone over to you yesterday that wants to get more on camera and get confidence and all that stuff. So I think there's so many people that are watching that would be that want your tidbits for this. But go ahead and share, who you are and who you help.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Stacy. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for putting this together. Hello to all of you and everybody watching. This is so much fun. And everything we're doing is so much fun. It's so fun to hang out with these people like all the time. We're doing this basically because of the camera. We get to all like hang out. We don't live in the same cities, and we're all getting to hang out and do all of this together. So I just love it. So yeah, back to my system. My system is 10x on camera, and it's a system that I put together based on experiences that I have, where that help people essentially go from being unseen to unstoppable. How many times in our lives have we done things where we're like, we reach a thing and then we're like, we kind of shrink back down, reach a thing and then shrink back it down. So with this system, I've incorporated things that I've used for acting that make it super, super fun. So there are no mistakes. It's just, that's just the scene where you are in the movie, right? It's just a scene in the movie. So put together a really fun system for people to play and have fun. It helps entrepreneurs and creatives to 10x their influence, 10x their influence, 10x their income. I mean,
So good.
It's business. It's a business.
I feel like a combination of all you guys. We're like 100xing from this hour that we're spending together. So, and then of course, Alina, would love to have you share too.
Hello, everybody in the room, in the building, outside the building. My name is Olina King. I'm also known as Lady Negotiator. And based on that name, my skill or super skill is negotiation and also high ticket sales. That's what I do, and that's what I've been doing. Like in corporate, I've been like I was in corporate sales for years, then in private, then in real estate. Then I got a taste of law enforcement trainings when I got on the this opportunity, very cool opportunity to train CIA, FBI, Secret Service agents and stuff like that. You know, girl from a little town in Bohemia in Czech Republic, and here jumping on all these adventures. So now what I do is I basically transitioned last year to online coaching and consulting and helping especially women to improve their negotiation skills, because I want other women to get the taste of getting what they want, get the taste of getting money and income they want, because it is all possible. And unfortunately, what I've learned is that a lot of ladies struggle with asking for more. And statistics and studies show that women notoriously ask for less than men. And there is something to be changed about that. So I'm here to help, and let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
So good. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. And thank you guys for being here. I just love this topic because every level that we have to go through, you have to get through new things, right? It's like whether it's a mind game or a habit trick or goals that you're setting, or like Kristen says, say yes and figure it out. It's like, there's so many things that you have to get through to get there. And so I had a really good question that came in yesterday that I wanted to mention. And let me just say hi to people on Facebook really quick. So hi, Neil. Good to see you. And Kathy and Kimmy and Vicky and Laverne and Nicole and Darcy. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Feel free to join us on YouTube. I just have it here because I am still figuring out this whole connection with all of it. But anyway, good to see you all. But the question is, and I'd love for those of you that are ready to answer this, and for any of you that are watching that have a question, put it in the chat so then we can really tap into what you're really wanting to hear today, and like why you came, and really like the intention, right? Because everyone's time is our highest commodity. I want to make sure we're like providing the most value that we could do. But Jamie asked a great question, and she said, I would be curious to know what they consider to be their most noteworthy breakthrough that they attribute to catapulting their own success, and or any nugget of advice that you have for people as a result. So would love to see who wants to go first. Laura, are you waving your hand? Yes. Okay, great.
Yeah, I was waving my hand because I'm like, feel that. Actually, while you were sort of listening to everyone and what we all do, it's like, I think the biggest breakthrough I have ever had is a very, very personal one. And I think over the years, we've all had loads and loads of different experiences. And something that people talk about all the time is momentum. and procrastination. And I'm always like, I just take action. I just take action. And I always take action. Like, throw something at me, I'm like, action, 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 action. And actually, the biggest breakthrough that I got was realizing that actually deep down, I was almost covering up the kind of belief that I wasn't good enough. Like that, like it's killer, right? Kills action. And it's amazing how I covered it up by taking action. And when when you look back and you see the patterns of behavior, I'm always fascinated by people do stuff and the patterns that they create. I look back and I realize I'd taken lots of action, but just at the point of breakthrough, I would like pivot. But I wouldn't be pivoting the right way. I'd be pivoting away from where I wanted to go. And I sort of, when I realized what I was doing, which it probably took me about 20 years to realize that. It definitely took me a lot of time to really realize that was my pattern, is getting to the point of near breakthrough. And then this sort of deep-seated feeling of like, maybe I'm not good enough to go through that breakthrough. Once I cracked that, I then was able to put the right people around me, be part of the right, networks, be in the right rooms, and keep those like principles and values and goals really front and center. And I think for me, that was that's been my biggest breakthrough, being really honest with myself, being able to.
I love that you share that, because I think there's so many people that don't realize, and we talk about this next level success, right? Like every new level you go to, like some of these old patterns come back, right? And like you think that you've already worked through them, but then you're like, why are you back? And I think the more that we can talk about it, and I know that's where we connected. I remember saying an email something about me not feeling good enough, and this immediate connection point. The more we're able to like be open and vulnerable and have these conversations, I think that the more you realize that you're not alone, that other people are going through it too. And then it gets you not to give up, right? Because you're seeing that it's normal. It's actually not like you're not going to be able to do it. You actually can do it. You just realize that it's other people are having the same reaction.
Yeah. And I think, it's about that vulnerability and knowing that what you're feeling, which is so personal. And I've been able to put a kind of, guard around me, even for myself maybe, but being able to, what is so vulnerable for you personally, which feels like you don't want to share it, is actually really likely to be what everybody's feeling. What is very personal is actually very general, and that's what people connect to. And I am I'm so good at selling myself, like the lies that I tell myself, and it took me so long to do that. And I think the way to whatever challenge you have and whatever is holding you back from that breakthrough, I think you've got to take a look and be, I think, emotionally honest with yourself to be able to reach the stars. I always think, go for the stars, go for the stars.
So good. Love that.
That's mine.
And by the way, Jackie from London says hi. So just remind me to connect you guys at some point, Laura.
Yes, London. It's dark here.
Thank you. And so, Kristen, do you want to go next? And feel free to like either reflect on that, or you could go back to the biggest breakthrough. Either way you want to go with this would be great.
Yeah, awesome. Laura, I love it. I love being in company with you and all of the rest of you. It's such a, I mean, it's so easy for me to comment on what you were saying, the vulnerability in the journey, because April 17th of 2023, I was let go unexpectedly from my job. And running my own business was always on my heart, but I was scared. I had no money. I have, more money, more problems, right? I was making multiple six figures. in a corporate leader role, and that is not to impress anyone. It is to impress upon you that like things were real over here when I was let go with 2 weeks pay, like no leads on a job. And so I leaned in to my own expertise, and I started sharing the vulnerability of. I also created a narrative of things happened for me, not to me, which allowed me to share vulnerably and transparently that this happened to me. This crappy situation happened to me, but here's how I'm going to make lemons out of lemonade. And that allowed me to tell the story without bad mouthing my former employer or like sounding negative, right? Like a negative Nancy. Who doesn't love lemonade? Michael Price, yes. So, I mean, it's just so obvious for me to pause and comment on your feedback, because the vulnerability of the journey. That's why this YouTube thing is so great, because so many people compare subconsciously our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reels that we see on social media. Whether we intend to post it as a highlight reel or not, we're comparing our beginning to someone else's middle or their end. And so being vulnerable and sharing your authentic self and being willing to like put yourself out there, even if you don't have all the answers, is part of saying yes and figuring it out. And does tie back to your question, but I just thought that was really good insights.
So good. Yeah, I love that. Oh, hold on. There we go. Yeah, so good. And I love that. And I think like we should all do that more. I really like to, anytime I do something new, when it's like super messy, I just show it, and I'm like, so if I ever add like a cool picture to something or update something, I'm always basically able to say, like, okay, you're not going to know that this was terrible when you see it down the road. You're only going to see this like cool version of it. And I think it's important for us all to like kind of show that, because people don't realize there's a starting place, with that too. So I just really appreciate it.
And I mean, sorry, but like to look back on our own journey, the thing that we accomplished that felt really hard at the time.
Yeah.
Also, there's an echo again, Stacy.
Oh, there is. Okay.
I know who the culprit is.
But it is. You're out of here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But when we look back on our journey, we don't even remember the hard. Yeah. And that's why sharing the hard is so good for us and for the people that we're called to serve.
So good. No, I love that. Thank you. And Michael, do you want me to unmute you so you can comment? I feel like you have a lot to say here.
I actually, am I unmuted now? Okay.
You are, yeah.
Thank you so much, Laura. I can totally relate to that. I've been all about action, action, action. And, I got involved with Tony Robbins back in the 90s and became one of just 10 trainers paid by him to travel around the world and support him at his live public seminars, because I was all about action, and I love that he was all about action. And one of the words you mentioned, Laura, is Tony was really great in saying that when you take massive action, you can start identifying patterns of things that work, patterns of things that don't work, and then you go back and change your approach, change your strategy and so forth. One of the things that I realized through Tony was that the critical need for me to get mentorship. So to answer your question, Stacy, people that learn more earn more, there's a saying, right? And what I was doing was taking massive action, and it was like throwing a ladder up against the wall, getting to the top, and then realizing the ladder was on the wrong wall. And here I am at the top. Now I got to come all the way back down, and now I got to go move my ladder somewhere else. So slowing, one of the things I believe the Lord has shown me is less is more. So slow down and get mentorship. There's wisdom in an abundance of counselors. Find out from other people that have achieved what I want to achieve. What did they do? What ladder did they get? What wall did they climb? What belief system really is what Laura was talking about. What beliefs were limiting beliefs? And did I need to, how specifically could I get rid of those? and what were the belief systems that very successful people have that I could implement in my life so that I could climb the right ladder on the right wall a lot quicker. So hopefully that helps.
So good. Yeah, definitely. So good. And Leah, I'd love to hear from you. So feel free to either add to this context, or we could go back to the first kind of idea of the breakthrough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think everything that everybody has said is like so many great gems shared, right? From I've seen this so often with candidates, you know, putting their ladder against the wrong career building essentially, and ending up at the top and looking around and realizing this is not where I want to be, right? And then for Kristen, you know, comparison truly can be the thief of joy, right? When you look around and you compare where you're beginning to where somebody's finished, that's just really not helpful. And I think Laura, you were so honest, and I think so like genuine in your experience, and I think that inner dialogue is so true for, I think, for everybody. And I'd say for a lot of the candidates, certainly that I've worked with, certainly the higher up they ascend in their career, that dialogue and that voice of like, do I belong? Should I be here? And which is why I feel that learning how to really, you know, harness your executive voice to be an effective communicator in any room that you're in, regardless of who you're speaking to, what the situation is, whether it's negotiating your salary, negotiating like a 10 to 20, 50 million funding deal. If you're in, you know, the startup space, you're trying to grow your company, or you're trying to recruit a new board member to your advisory board. So I think that like so many great insights. And I would say that as far as, you know, the initial question, as far as like your biggest breakthrough, you know, I really feel like it was a woman that we all know, for Eileen Wilder. You know, one of the things that she had actually said to another individual in a group coaching session, essentially, was really looking at, you know, all of the different phases and stages of your life and having them as like different, not individual, you know, chapters, but part of essentially like a cohesive whole for your book. That yeah, it was so powerful. And you know, Stacey, and your do the thing, your audience incubator that you've been so generous in working with all of us, it really helped to still, you know, and kind of go much deeper in reflecting about what does that mean for, you know, the continuity for generally when I share my career, because I've worked in 3 very different industries, from healthcare, federal politics, and then talent. But really being able to, you know, synthesize that and what I feel is certainly, you know, all of who I am, and then taking that and those gifts and lessons, and then really helping and empowering other people to find their voice. So lots of different kind of transformations and changes, and I'm so happy and excited to be here and share this online space with all of you.
Yeah, it's so good. And it almost sounds like you're saying too, that next level of success really happens too when you tap deeper in, right? And you're connecting those dots on why you're even doing what you're doing.
Like your wheel exercise, like so many of the things that you've walked us through have just been like so helpful for all of that.
Thank you. And Amy, love to hear feel free to, you guys could just either share, I love this space where we're just like in this energetic bubble, right? Of just sharing either what's alive for you or going back to the original breakthrough. Because that was a great question, by the way. Thank you, Jamie, for asking it.
Yeah, that is a great question. And thank you so much for everybody who shared so much already. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. And that's so true. And that's so true, right? I can relate to pretty much any one of these. So I'll do something different. 2 things, which are sort of mentioned, but when we even talk about mentors and our surroundings, I think sometimes we think that we have to go it alone, that we're going up this level or climbing this mountain and that we have to do it alone. And that's not the case. You have to sometimes go looking for those right places. You know, it might not land in your lap. So there is some work involved, but when it happens, you have to let go, you have to embrace it. And you have to, you know, you're like, okay, this is it. These are the people that are going to help me move forward and go to my next level, dump my baggage and move forward. And so that's something, I guess that it's like a piece of advice, but in a way also as a reminder to myself that it's important who you surround yourself with. That's very, very important. So I think that really says it all right there. It's important to pay attention that when you have that overall arching goal and the thing you're going for, when you're saying, okay, I don't want to be too busy, this, that. Well, I mean, figure out what's got to go and what stays, and wherever you're enlightened and you're moving forward, go with that. Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
Do you think that when you're around the people that you're wanting to be around that maybe have similar goals that you, it helps you almost trust yourself even more?
Oh, 100%. 100%, because we're just firing at all cylinders. If we're not firing in one area, somebody else is going to be firing in that area. So definitely 100%. It's like an incubator, right? A little bit in a way. It's definitely something where we're helping each other fire in all these cylinders without having to go it alone. I'm also a person who needs that time alone to download. So I think, the right surroundings, and then also that time to download yours as well.
So good. And just want to say hi to a few more Facebook people. Jean, good to see you. And Paul. Hi, Paul. And hi, Shauna. Good to see you guys here. Okay, now we get to hear from the lady negotiator herself, Alina.
Oh my gosh. Oh, everything what was said here. This is just confirmation that I am in the right room, because I love you all, guys. This is amazing. Everything is so relatable. And I'm sure that the people that are listening to us can find some relation to these things that were mentioned. What I would say, and I love the fact that when you surround yourself with the right people, that's the first big win. Because how it is, when you are, or you feel like you are in a space where you are not being heard, you are just you just feel like you don't belong there, and it's just nothing is working right. And when you happen to be around your people, then all of a sudden you start learning so much about yourself too. You dig in, and you actually start. This is my own experience. It's like you start believing in yourself more, because you get into the right space, and you share with the people that are creative, that are open-minded, they don't blame others for their mistakes. They are learners, and they are accepting and tolerant to all the new things coming to the space. And I love that so much. What I would also say is the very important part, as a breakthrough in my development over the years, was trusting. I think Amy mentioned trust yourself, right? But it's also the trust your gut, trust your instinct. Whenever I did not listen to my inner voice before my 30s, I would do a lot of silly stuff, and I would be like, oh my gosh, why did I? And I knew that I went against my belief inside, and then things didn't go right. And then something happened. When I turned 30, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do things, even if I have to go against the crowd and say the things that it will not be comfortable. But you say things, you can learn with Lady Negotiator, you can learn to say things in an elegant way. But you go after your dreams, you go after your goals, and you do what you desire to do. And life is beautiful. And life is beautiful at the right places you are, and with the right people. So yes, that's my 2 cents.
So good. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much. So we have another really great question that came in. Lucretia said, how do you discipline yourself to stick to the plan no matter what distractions? How do you make the time for work, kids, and your projects? Do you get up earlier or stay up later? And so I feel like this is such a powerful question when you especially when you're going after new stuff. And so feel free to just raise your hand with who wants to tackle this one. Okay, Kristen. Well, yeah, a 3-year-old. You have a 3-year-old, right?
Yeah. It's such a good question. But to make you know that you're not alone, here's what's happening in the world right now. I was on an airplane Monday to go to Indiana, a week ago to go to Indiana. And somebody tell me in the chat, or somebody tell me right here, How many notifications do you think I got in the span of 2 hours from United Airlines?
Oh no.
Guess a number.
7.
Okay.
100.
Good. That's
7.
15.
Wow.
15 notifications, and they were coming at me on text, on my app, and in email. And so to think that like I do a keynote on stage about being bombarded by distractions, and if I know the people in the room, I'll like time the slide and make all these funny like things come up, because it's not true, right? You're constantly being bombarded by notifications. And that is why I love the question, because for better or for worse, we have within our own control to just put our blinders on and say, I'm not dealing with that right now, because I'm like the worst of them all. Like the second somebody starts to voice memo me, like that's the catch. If you want my attention, send me a voice memo. I can't help myself. I'm like, what did they say? And then I sometimes get frustrated. I'm like, because I'm trying to do something else. And so I think for me, the thing that's been learning to learn. And yeah, I have a 3.5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old. I was let go from my job. I was writing a book. I'm like starting a business. It's never not a busy season, but it's learning how to lean in to your community. So I loved those answers, Amy's answers, and everyone else's about like having a community. And it's continuously taking an imperfect next step. So decide that right now is the day you're going to make 15 phone calls, or find 15 podcasts to get on, or write a proposal, or. So make the decision and then take an imperfect step, and then lean into your community, ask for help, and then celebrate the heck out of it. That's actually my 4-step framework for taking massive imperfect action, but it's so applicable in the case of like, what do we do when there's tons of distractions just flying at us?
So good. And I think that United example is such a good example of like what happens in life, right? Here you are in this like isolated point, and you come back and you're bombarded by it. So yeah, I love that. Okay, who else wants to answer this one?
Yeah, because there's always going to be distractions.
We all do. We all do. We've all got an answer.
Okay.
You choose, Stacey. You choose. It's
Okay,
on you.
okay. I saw Michael's hand raised first. We'll do Michael first.
Ooh, that was not me, so don't blame me for that one. That's such a good question. And before we're done, Stacey, we should hear from you. You've been so valuable in your dares and your questions, and you're such a giver. So thank you so much. I just want to make sure I throw that in there. So I love the question. So because sometimes I'll be, isolated by myself here, working as a solo entrepreneur, so to speak, and thinking, wow, I got this to do, that to do. I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But what has helped me is I do have a routine. There's a great book called Atomic Habits. Maybe some of you probably have heard of it or whatever. And so I have a habit where I spend time with the Lord first thing in the morning to center myself, to clear my mind, and to ask him, what do you want me to do? Then I got reminded of Leonardo da Vinci when he did the Sistine Chapel. He would just draw what I heard, I wasn't there, but he draws a little circle, and he just focuses on that circle and nothing outside of that circle. So for that day, that was his focus. So I do have, like, I use Notepad, and I will make a to-do list of what I do, and then because on my computer, I can be centered before I get to my computer, but then I get to the computer, and like Kristen said so well, boom, bombarded with emails and notifications everywhere. So that little notepad helps me. I have 2 monitors, and when I'm getting distracted over here, I'll just go back to my notepad over there and go, what's next? What's the next right thing that I need to do? And then last and not least, I will add, I do have an accountability partner, and we write down things that we're supposed to do. And one of the things that really helps me a lot is we do a week at a glance. So every Monday morning, we have a list of all the things that got accomplished the previous week. And it's just a super great way for me to recenter myself on a Monday morning and realize, wow, I had a really awesome week last week, instead of starting Monday morning with, look at all the things I have to do, or look at all the things that I haven't done. It's to help me focus on all the wins in my life so that I have a new focus, energy, for the upcoming week. So I'll end with that.
I love that. That's so good. Yeah, it's just there's so much to just what we're saying, and thanks, Nicole. Nicole just said such a great topic and alive and the live. So I really appreciate you guys all being here, and there's so many of you that that are also, I'm like looking. There's so many podcasters here that are joining. Paul helps people write books. There's like all kinds of stuff happening with the people that are joining us. So feel free to comment either something that you need help with in terms of this topic, or advice that you guys have, and I'd love to honor it, in this space. For me, answering your question, Michael, what really helps me with this, this sounds so funny. Number one, I surround myself with people. I join and invest in things that are going to help me get to the next level. That's like my number one thing. Otherwise, there's no way I could do it, as I have to be around my people, because when I don't believe in myself, then the people around me give the belief in me, which helps kind of like power me to the next level. And then also my community is an amazing way that keeps me going, because I have people to serve, and there's something about that helps it stay alive. So that now I really need to create a fitness group, because that has been sacrificing lately. So that would be something I might do. If you guys see me create a fitness group, you'll know I have I've made the commitment for that. But anyway, that really helps me, at least with the business goals, for sure. So yeah, Alina, I'd love to hear from you next.
Well, now I'm trying to think what I was about to say, but I would say this: nobody's perfect. And like I noticed, like when I try to be a high achiever often, but then it catches up, and then it slaps me back. So what I started to do is, like, I started to forgive myself. I'm not perfect, and I'm not aiming for perfection anymore. Okay, so what I aim for is, I always know for the day what are 2 to 3 things that are most important on my list when it comes to business, what to do, and I focus on that. I always have like 10,000 other things I could do, and I do have them there, but I always focus on those 2 to 3 most important ones, and then I move on. Some days are faster, some days are very slow, and I forgive myself for that. I've learned, so, and it's been helpful. I also found out that when I took too many tasks on as a high achiever, then I just got down. And what does that mean? It's not good for someone in sales or negotiation. Your confidence level needs to be balanced, right? So when the confidence is coming down, the sales are not going as well as you would wish. So what I do is, like, okay, so there is the way I do it is, like, I take 2 steps back, forward, 2 steps back sometimes, and that has been very healing and helpful. And what I found out is, like, if I forgive myself, because I feel like I have to work 24/7 sometimes, it's like, and then I'm like, if I forgive myself and say, okay, today and tomorrow I will not do any of that, and then I just step aside, and the day 3 I come with so many ideas. So have you experienced that too? Like, sometimes when you give yourself the break from the routine, because the routine is good. It's good to stick with routine. I would not say that I would say 1 to 2 days is a good step back sometimes to do so. And then you come with massive ideas.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because I was born in like hustle culture where like you never got out of the fire, and that's something with Do the Thing that I've been really working on practicing myself and then teaching, is that like slowing down so then the noise stops. And when I started this program that I'm doing now, I realized I went back into that old pattern of like, there's a whole episode of me and Dr. Tubi where I like kind of, you can hear me going, oh my gosh, I'm doing this again, you know, where I like was going. And I just this week, this is me slowing down, by the way. This week I'm like slowing down. I'm not doing all the group calls that I normally do. And it's been so huge where like I feel like I'm alive again. And it just feels so good to just be able to, it's almost like cutting out the noise, but it's not like bad noise. Sometimes it's just a lot of stuff, right? And that helps you kind of get to the next level too, because the new ideas come and you can hear yourself thinking, and then you're able to see what's in front of you, like what's presented, you know?
I think it's also you change frequencies too. Sometimes you get to higher frequencies where you all of a sudden find solutions that which you, if you're in your everyday routine,
Yes.
you just miss on those, you know. So that's what I found that is helpful. It helped me, and it helped some of my clients as well. So I've noticed.
So good. So good. And Leah?
So I agree with everything that was already just said. Like a foundation. But what I often think about is I worked with this CTO, and he would often say to me, you know, it's important to not have death by 1,000 cuts, which is whether it's like those 50 notifications from United Christian that you had, the other ways that we are being like pulled and stretched for our teachers, or people have like 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and a lot of I think certainly just, I don't know what the feedback is. That's not me.
Yeah, I think it might be. I was just muting to see where it came from. It's okay. It's okay. You can keep going.
Why doesn't everyone self-mute? I self-mute myself in between.
No, I think it's Leah's.
Oh,
I don't know, 'cause I'm not touching anything.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that phrase, as far as like death by 1,000 cuts, is like a very real application to what our lives are. So this sounds beautiful.
Yeah. Sorry, Laura, it was you.
It was like the auditory white noise there. But I feel like, you know, there are lots of different theories. So this is like a tactic. I know we're not supposed to go into tactics, but I find this to be very helpful, right? Usually when I look at the calendar of the day, I can look at and divide into either like the micro tasks. So I look at either the extremes, either like the big needle mover that I want to accomplish for the day, or like the smaller micro tasks. And I try and make sure that I get like a little bit of both done. And I find that really helpful.
I love that. The needle mover versus the micro task. Yeah, like that. Oh, so good. Yeah.
So I find that that's really helpful. But as far as preserving that your headspace so that you do not perish by death because of your thousands of cuts, and like the 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there is so incredibly important for everybody.
So good. So good. And Amy?
Okay. So I have a few thoughts on this. Thank you so much for everybody sharing their thoughts. I think this is going to be so helpful for people. One, which is just an odd coincidence. When I started my podcast, I first started it just to get into the habit. I just was like, I want to do it every week at this time. I really didn't know what it was about. For me, I like to kind of have seasons, put things into seasons. I have guests that pop in here and there as well, but I have seasons. My first season was boundaries. And then my second season was getting outside your comfort zone. You kind of need both of those things, right? You need boundaries and you need to be getting outside of your comfort zone. And then oddly, my next season now is leadership. In order to be able to lead, you need to have those two things for sure. You aren't going to be very good for anybody if you don't have the boundaries and you aren't also getting outside of your comfort zone. So keeping that the overarching goal, like I talked about earlier, which I do actually have in the 10X on camera system, keeping that overarching goal in mind when you're making your decisions about anything. Make sure if that really aligns with you and what you're all about, your purpose or whatever you want to call it, right? But just kind of keeping that overarching thing in line. And does this align with me? Does it not? Again, it's fine to take that time to decide for yourself. And then one tactic that helps me, because we had to restructure things lately as well. We were going long days. So tactic is have the same start time every day and do your best to have the same end time at the end of the day as well.
So good. Wow. So good. Just a couple Facebook stuff. So Jackie just said, this has been such a great discussion. It's always good to know that we are not alone in our struggles. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing us this wonderful discussion. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate it. And then Nicole said, I have great ideas and passion, but lack follow through. I have a strong why, but life, children, ego, I feel is an escape. What do you do to make your why higher than the obstacle? It's a great question. I don't think we have time for everyone to answer, but I'd love to see if somebody wants to answer that. Laura, you do? Okay, I've got to unmute you. Hold on. Okay, we'll try.
Muted. Don't say another word because you're causing loads of noise or something. That's a really good question, actually, and it kind of combines the last question too. I remember having a huge corporate job. I was bringing up 2 kids on my own. I literally had no time. I mean, I used to get home from work and sit outside my house for 10 minutes before I had to walk through the door with 2 kids and an au pair and and it's really tough keeping focused on just breathing, eating, surviving the day. And I think once you make the shift into the step towards your why, I think that's like a huge step that you need to keep really clear in your in your mind. And I think going back to what I was saying at the beginning, where sometimes you have these sort of softeners in your mind that tell you not to, don't worry, do that next week. Don't worry, it's not so important. And it's about having that clarity in your mind of what do I need to do this week? What is my 20% this week that's going to get me to my why? And trying to, minimize the noise as best you can, so that I kind of think if there are 3 things I'm going to do this week, whatever else I do doesn't matter as long as I do those 3 things. And as long as those 3 things are aligned with my why, with my, what I want to achieve, I'm going to forgive myself for not doing any of the others. And I think I learned once, someone told me, we're so focused on the why, we're so focused on what we've got to do next, that we also have to look back a little bit too, to see what we've already achieved as well. It's I'm so let's go. That sometimes I'm we actually did all those things too.
Wow.
And I think once you get connected with, and my sort of daily habit is before I eat, talk, breathe, I go out for a walk and I just let my mind wander around. And that's, I think, when you kind of get your why front and center and you get your priorities right. So I guess it's trust yourself. Come back to trust yourself.
So good. My gosh, amazing. Yeah, she said, I make a to-do list a mile long. Making a 3 why list is brilliant. So there you go.
Yeah. It's I always, every morning, every week, I'm what's my 20%?
Yeah.
And I'm the other 80%, if I get any of it done, cool. But if I don't, it can fall off. And I remember when I was doing that job, I'd never read all my emails. I could never get to all my meetings. You just have to trust yourself to drop the 80% and just focus on doing that 20%.
Wow. So good. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I want to honor everyone's time and I appreciate each of you. Kristen, did you have something blaring? I see a finger.
We should stay for 7 more minutes.
What?
We should stay for 7 more minutes.
7 more minutes?
I mean, we can just hang out, but yeah, I don't know if you want me to share. Should I? We're talking about vulnerability and learning through.
Yeah.
So I heard from a very smart, trusted, reliable resource who heard it from somebody else that YouTube is rewarding people like you and me who don't have a big audience for us to go live on the platform for more than 1 hour.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We're
So we have
doing it.
7 more minutes. Okay.
Now, like potato, right? At the end of the day, you're not going to break your neck. You got to go pick up your kids, like go do the thing.
Yeah.
But if we're all just hanging out, let's
I love
Hang out.
Oh, I have another question I was holding back. So thank you.
do
You're giving
No
me
holding back. No holding back.
yeah, I would love, I feel like, because each of you, I think the thing, and this is, I think Amy said this in the beginning when I had this idea for this expert panel, was like, it's so cool because we're all so different in like what we do and what we bring, that like there's something really cool about just that space being created. And so I'd love you to each share just something about like why like what you do helps people go to the next level in success. So it's in more of like advice, you know, in terms of something that's like advice of like what you're actually helping with people with, and then to the next level. So I'm really putting a lot of pressure in this question, just so everyone knows. With expert panels, I never give people any idea what the questions are. They always come alive in the interview. So yeah. So how about you, Amy? You want to start with that?
Okay, so I totally missed the question. What?
Before.
I was typing in the chat.
Time to kill. We have time
Wait,
to kill.
what's? Yeah, we have time. So what's the question?
We have 7 more minutes now. Yeah. So for you, it's like, what the question is like, what you do specifically, what you help with people with, how that actually helps them get to the next level of success.
Okay,
So
so
it's kind of like advice on like your super ninja thing, that sauce that you're doing. Oh my gosh,
Okay.
I used the word sauce. Sorry, Eileen. Oh my gosh.
Snap.
okay, my vehicle of choice is on camera. I think we can all see the direction of how things are going, and I can get into stats and statistics of money that's fallen away from the universities, and it's going toward independent creators doing their cool stuff online. And where do we look for all the new things we want to learn? We go to YouTube, or we go to courses, like, you know what I mean? We don't have time we're not going to go get, you know, another 4-year, 2-year, however many year degrees, you know. We want to learn stuff quickly and move forward with our lives as fast as we can. So the vehicle 10x on camera, the system that we've created, essentially helps people go from unseen to unstoppable. There's something special inside of you. You know it. And there's people out there that are doing it maybe worse than you could do it. So we have a program that helps people to be able to step out of their comfort zones and do things in a way that's in a very cool environment. And it's just a lot of fun using the tactics that we do, like if you're in your own movie. So that's all I'll say for now.
So good. So good. And Alina, we'll go with you next.
It's transformational. What I do is like I notice, like, again, like I love to help anyone, men, women, but I really my passion is to help women, especially women, because I see that they need it the most. To be able to ask for more, to be able to ask for more when it comes to money, when it comes in relationships, to ask for more, to communicate better, and basically reach their dreams, their goals. And how do I do that? I have a bombshell set of skills, negotiation skills and high ticket sales skills, and I teach that to women, to ladies, very elegantly way to use in their lives, in their business, and basically change everything. Whatever they want in life, they can change it, and they can live very comfortable life.
Okay, so good. You just inspired, because I want to know more. And I'm like, you just inspired this extra part of the question. So I apologize, you guys. So this is do the thing, right? So I would love you to give them also just like one thing they could do today to like ask for more in their lives. Like what would be like either a way they could do it, or something they can say, or is there some kind of like little thing, just a nugget?
Are you asking me, or are you asking
I'm asking you? Yeah.
Yeah, like what they should be asking for more. I mean, like they should be whatever they want. I mean, if let's say they have a wonderful expertise, and they are selling their service, or they are selling their wonderful product. And for whatever reason, and it usually comes from the mindset, is like that they just don't ask for more money for it, or for the service they provide. Did I answer the question you were asking?
Yeah, because it's pretty
Yes.
much do the thing and ask for money.
Yes, so, I mean, look, I've been in sales all my life, and honestly, I do only elegant way. I don't do cold calls. I don't offer cold calls. I hate it. I suck at cold calls, but I am really good at elegant selling,
Love
selling without selling, having fun, and living a good life. How about that?
So good. I love it. All right, Leah, it's your turn. Thank you so much. That was so good.
And this is, I mean, thank you for asking this question, Stacey, right? So what do you do that really helps people get to that next level of success? And the differentiator for us as humans is that we have language, we have communication, and an ability to connect with others by using our words and however we speak. And really being able to use the science of speech, the principles within speech language pathology to apply that and unlock your next executive role. And with that coming 5 and 6 figure raises that are obviously in a reflection of the value that you're bringing to your organization. The story and often the lie that we are so often told when we're growing up is that you just have to work harder. You have to work more, you have to work longer hours. And it's not about working harder or working more hours or clocking in. I mean, I remember when I was a policy advisor in the leadership office in the Senate, I pretty much just slept at the office because I worked so much. But that is not how you actually ascend the ladder. What really matters is how you're able to communicate the value that you bring to whatever organization. And that's the key. That's the key differentiator. And then knowing how to use really the science of speech in whatever outside of the clinical setting, which is where it's been trapped for so long, and essentially applying it to careers so that individuals can finally unlock and have the voice and their executive presence to be seen and heard. So that's what I work on with people. I love it. I love my career as a speech language pathologist, and I love now being able to help people and executives ascend in their career.
So good. Thank you. So good. Okay, Michael.
Thank you. I think I'm going to answer the last question initially, and that is, because I think the person said, and I resemble the remark, long to-do list, right? And these dreams and these goals, but how specifically have I been able to go past the areas in the past where I haven't been able to break through the mindset or the limiting belief or whatever? So I joined an accountability group. I mentioned accountability earlier, and I kept talking about, I'm going to do this training event and all this. And then this was the key for me, was a huge consequence. So my 2 accountability partners said, well, when are you going to do it? And I'm like, someday. And they're like, pick a date and what's the consequence? And so I picked a date, and I had $1,000 consequence that if I didn't do a training event by that date, I would have to give them $1,000. Now, I like money, and like you said, do the thing and ask for the money, right? So, I didn't know what to do, but that didn't matter. That's what I love, like Kristen, your energy, and just go, and you, Stacey, and all the amazing women, just go do the thing. But having that accountability with the big consequence is what got me. The next week, I went to the pastor of my church, and I said, hey, I got to do this thing, this training event, and I want to help people. And he said, okay. And I said, I'll do it on donation only, and I'll give 100% to the church. That came to me in the process of how am I going to get him to say yes? And he was like, wow, that sounds wonderful. When do you want to do it? And I'm like, by such and such a date. So my point was having a really huge consequence that I'm accountable to other people. I think as people that are, I'll speak for myself, as an entrepreneur, that I'm in my own environment with my own goals. If I don't share them with other people, if I'm not held accountable with a huge consequence, it's just too easy to do what I heard you say, Laura. I'll just do that next week. I'll just do that tomorrow, or whatever, the big lie. So that's one of the things that I do is I like, for example, with some of the things that I do, I create a better than money back guarantee. I want to hold myself at a high standard that if I don't fulfill on what I said, I'm going to give you not just your money back. Everybody gives their money back. It's like, I'm going to give you that and more.
Wow.
So
So good.
that's the answer.
Thank you. And apparently you're running my new accountability group for my fitness community.
Actually, if you want, I do have a document I wrote on it. I'm happy to share that with anybody for free.
Aw,
It really helps.
cool. Yeah, we'll take it.
All
Okay,
right.
Laura, your turn.
Yeah, really good comments. And I think do the thing, right? Do the thing. I think we will, this is like when we plug our stuff, right? So doing the thing, offeracceleratorlive.com. We're doing it tomorrow at the masterclass, so come and join us. It is getting late here, and I know we're going to get extra bucks from YouTube. So as I said at the beginning, I'm more vulnerable in the evenings. And I think for me, I'm going to get emotional. I think really it comes down to, number one is like the belief in the value that you bring to the table. Right? The belief in the value you bring to the table. And I think that enables you to do so many more things. That enables you to have high ticket offers. That enables you to deliver amazing services. And I think if you can build that belief, that takes you to the next level. I think that like the second thing is that transaction, like the Eileen Wilder, the transaction is important for the people that invest in your offers and what you do. And I think when you start investing in yourself, you really kind of get that. And I think the third thing for me is about connection. Getting really vulnerable here. Connection. Being able to share your incredible gifts with the world, being able to connect with people, however you work, where you work, whatever habits you have, being able to really connect and, be around the people you want to be around. I think that's kind of what we are trying to enable every day, aren't we, as entrepreneurs? That's definitely what we're trying to do at Offer Accelerator Live. And I think the other question, which was how to ask, what was the question? I'm lost.
It was just like technically it's go to your masterclass, because it was like, if you could do something like tomorrow, if you could do something tomorrow, what would you?
Go to the masterclass. Now, I actually think sometimes, and I remember someone saying this to me, is sometimes it is just as simple. You've got all this stuff going through your head. Sometimes it really is just as simple as having the bottle to ask, right? Just ask that person who you think's amazing that will never come on your podcast.
I love that.
Ask the person out for the date. Ask for the business. Sometimes it's just ask.
I love that. That's so good. Yes. Okay, Kristen, taking us home. No pressure.
Another 7 minutes.
Oh, we're going now. Just kidding.
2 days double. Just kidding.
Well, I would have said almost everything everybody says. So there isn't much left to say, except you have permission to iterate. Like, if that doesn't resonate with everyone watching, I don't know about you, but tell us in the chat if you've bought course after course after course that you did or didn't do anything with. Mentorships you never got an ROI from. And it's like, you have permission to iterate. If I would have stopped at the $20,000 I spent on a real estate thing, mentorship that I did nothing with when I was chasing shiny objects, if I had never kept going and iterated what I was trying to figure out was actually my true self, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so you have permission to iterate within the offer itself. You have permission to iterate who you are and who you're serving. And I just think with everything else said, like, it's a really great way to wrap up.
So good. Thank you so much. And do you mind sharing what your version of iterating means? There's a few comments about iterating.
I had to look up iterate. Yes, go Sarah, look at you. No, I think it's to pivot. It is to tweak or to pivot or to turn. Because when I first started making high ticket offers and I didn't get a sale, I thought, well, I was too attached to the offer and not enough to their outcomes. And for me to say that as a 20-year corporate sales person, I mean, I love that Alina and I have that in common, right? Like, I know better, but it's still like if you're selling something new and it's scary and you're being vulnerable and you're like following a script and you're like, this is the thing, you really have to self-reflect. And so the iteration comes in when you're like, well, how could I do that better? Because in corporate sales, we would call the clients we lost the RFP bid to and ask, like, hey, are you open to sharing like why you selected the company that you selected over us? And so it's kind of like a self-reflection. All of these calls you're having these days are recorded. Amy's spot on. We're all on camera, right? And so like, how can you self-reflect or ask? And then it's not to try to save that sale. It's to make yourself better for the next sale. Because we think that we have to have everything perfect and in line, and then we can launch. And that's where then we launch the thing that we spent weeks or months perfecting in our head in a vacuum. And then we go to the thing and we do it and we like get a couple calls as a result. And then we've got the script that we so diligently prepared. And now here we are pitching the thing and like no one buys. And we feel it's not a good feeling. It's really like, that's why salespeople, we really, go for no. There's so many strategies. I realized I can teach others now who are accidental salespeople who are now all their own entrepreneurs and like on the journey of helping others. There is sales in there, but it's like the big picture is iterating what you're offering to the person, ask them what they want, and then give them what they need. That's how I just won another sale right before this call. I gave him an offer. I built the offer on the fly. Like, here's my offer. And I hope he sees this video because he knew I was telling him I'm building you an offer. And when he put down the deposit, I was like, don't worry about what's on the landing page. Like, I'm going to email you my offer after I get off this podcast. Wow. And he's like, I love it. I'm in.
Amazing. So good. Well, thank you guys each for joining me. I just appreciate and adore each of you. And for those of you that are new watching the people on this live, go look them up. I'll put all their links and everything in the recap, and I'll send an email out so you have everything they have. But they all have really amazing things going on right now that's really fun to jump in on. And I appreciate you guys and your time, and for you guys being here as well. So, and sorry, Facebook, for those of you that had to jump over because my phone died but the last 5 minutes. But anyway, all right. So do the thing. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it.